views matter.
All right, Radio Zindagi listeners, ये आवाज जब आ जाता है रेडियो पे, you know that you are going to get prepared for this amazing Shah Peerally law show. जी हाँ, you must be knowing, but still I would love to tell you that Shah Peerally is the founder, president and managing attorney of the Shah Peerally Law Group in Newark, California, and there is another office in San Francisco and another in Washington DC as well. He is a member of the American Immigration Lawyer Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is very, very passionate about human rights, civil rights, social action and social services. And आपको तो पता ही है that he has a very, very strong interest of the political and legal system in the US. He goes out of the way to help people, and he formed his law group to work on the causes that he feels most ardent about. The law group focuses on immigration law with an emphasis on employment-based immigration and helps clients all over the US. तो जी हाँ, अगर इतना सारा information लेने के बाद आप सोच रहे हैं कि इनसे संपर्क करें तो कैसे करें, मैं आपको बताने वाली हूँ that you can call the number 510-742-5887. एक बार फिर से 510-742-5887 and जरूर चेक करें peerallylaw.com. Well, without further ado, let me welcome Shah Peerally. Shah, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing a little okay. I think I'm having a bad allergy or something. But hopefully I should be able to do the show. And thank you so much for having me today. And, of course, anything I'm going to tell you is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. So I'm going to start with. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Because I don't know. I have my nose clogged, so I might be nasal my conversation. But as long as you can understand me and hear me, that'd be great. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. We can hear you.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about the announcement. It seems like USCIS is extending the 60-day COVID rule for RFEs, notice of intent to deny, etc. So basically that up to October 23, 2022, where they will allow an extra 60 days on the time to respond to your RFEs, request for evidence, notice of intent to deny, etc., etc. So hopefully that will get some more time for our clients. We will really I don't think we ever had passed any of deadlines. So for us, it's not a big issue, but many times it's helpful for people to get their evidence together, prove their case, find a lawyer, so that 60 days can be very helpful. So they're extending that up to October 23. Having said that, I've seen in the past that many officers sometimes ignore that rule and they'll just say, oh, you didn't answer on time. So that's something I wanted to ask USCIS, and it's a very interesting situation. So this is one announcement, and any question there, but I wanted to discuss about something important. I had a conversation with someone today, and they wanted me to discuss about this. So before we move on the topic, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Well, I do have many questions, but उससे पहले मैं अपने listeners को कहना चाहूंगी कि this is your chance. You are with the great Shah Peerally because he has been helping, and he is in this in this law, in this immigration law. He has a lot of experience. So yes, if you think that you have a question that you want to ask on air, studio lines are open just for you. 510-770-1550 है हमारा नंबर. कोई भी सवाल अगर आपको परेशान कर रही है अबाउट इमिग्रेशन, देन प्लीज हमें यहाँ पे कॉल कीजिए 510-770-1550. शाह, आई एम सो ईगर टू लर्न अबाउट द न्यू थिंग्स एंड द टॉपिक दैट यू वांट टू आस्क, बट एक सवाल जो मुझे परेशान कर रही है, बिकॉज आई जस्ट फाउंड आउट अबाउट दैट पर्टिकुलर फ्रेज. What is conditional permanent residence?
Oh, good question. A conditional permanent residence it's a permanent residence, but it's subject to conditions. It's usually issued for people who are married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and their marriage is within 2 years, right? So what they will do, they will issue a conditional green card, and then after 1 year and 9 months, you have to remove this condition. If you're still married, it's a joint petition, I-751, to remove that. And if you're not married anymore, you have a divorce and abuse cases, then you still have to file. You have to file something pretty much immediately after you're separated. I mean, you have to be a divorce or abused, etc. Then you have to file the I-751 waiver to clear the case. Now, there is also another conditional residence which is obtained when you do EB-5. This is a different issue. I don't really handle EB-5, but mostly the conditional residence is something basically is just checking if your marriage is bona fide. That means it's genuine. So they want you to prove after 1 year and 9 months it's still good. Or if it is not married, you still prove that at the origin your marriage was good. So that's what is a conditional residence. It gets, all the rights are the same as a green card holder, except in 1 year and 9 months you have to remove those conditions. And if everything checks out, you file the I-751, you will get your permanent residence within like 1 year later.
Oh, that's, like, these are the things, मुझे लगता है रेडियो जिंदगी लिसनर्स, ये इमिग्रेशन के अंदर इतना सारा निटिग्रिटीज है जो हमें पता नहीं है, या फिर when we think we know that US immigration is something very very different and it's very complicated. तो अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आप सही हाथों में रहे, somebody to take care of your immigration needs, then you know that you do not need to look any farther because you have Shah Peerally Law Group beside you. तो फिर नंबर एक बार फिर से नोट कर लीजिए 5107425887. You can check out peerallylaw.com and you can call us on air 510-770-1550. So yes, Shah, you were telling that you had something in your mind that you have talked with your friend. So yes, let's start with that.
Yeah, interestingly, I just realized, and as you know, we've been fighting a lot lately. Well, not lately, it's been a while now. We've been trying to fight for people who come on H-4 to the United States and who go through a difficult situation to their marriage and end up either getting divorced or getting basically subject to abuses. And many times the abusers are emotional. So when the abusers are emotional, you cannot really file any U visa if you are a H-4 visa holder. But there's another problem that someone brought to my attention today is that many times the spouses basically are refusing to file because right now the dates are getting current. They're refusing to file for the adjustment of status. And that's a very, very unfortunate situation because there's not much you can do about it. You cannot force him or her to file for you. You cannot force the company because you are a dependent. And that's a very sad part because that becomes some kind of blackmail or abuses of controlling situation, and there's no real solution for it. Now, one that person was telling me is if there was a question on the I-485 form which says, for example, that, hey, are you married? If you're married, you're not filing for your spouse. Give us a reason for it. And that will be a disincentive for many people not to file for their spouses. I understand people fight, but at the end of the day, many times this becomes a tool of abuse, right? Other countries, I think, have a similar question, I think in Canadian forms, etc. And that person was telling me, hey, why not have USCIS change the I-485 adjustment form to ask that question, because that will be a deterrent for the spouse not to file for their other half, right? So that kind of trick to me is true because there's no remedy for it, and unless they feel like, okay, why is USCIS asking this? That can complicate my situation. I might as well file for my spouse. Well, this is something to ponder on, and I'm going to think about it. And I just because I had this conversation very recently, I wanted to bring it up, and maybe someone can have a solution and call and tell us, what do you think? Because a lot of people are just going to be left behind right now because couples fight, things don't go well, but at the same time, whenever an H-1B holder pretty much holds the life of the H-4 visa holder, and ultimately they can make it rain. So make sure that, not make sure because there's not much a solution, but hopefully we can push maybe the USCIS to change that and give a chance to those people somehow. So I wanted to talk about this because this seems very interesting. Unfortunately, this is a sad, interesting situation that H-4 visa holders are going through, especially if they're not physical abuse, because there's no remedy for non-physical abuse. And that's why we have a petition online on change.org to basically encourage changing the law to give some kind of protection to the H-4 visa holders, especially when they are verbally abused, etc. So let's see how this works out. But this is a very interesting point that person brought up, and I wanted to talk about it today. Yeah, that was my point, Rini. And any question on that?
Yeah, definitely I will ask you more follow-up questions. पर फिलहाल मैं रेडियो जिंदगी listeners आप सभी को कहना चाहूंगी कि if you have a situation like that, which is like of course very unfortunate, पर अगर ऐसा कुछ भी हो या फिर there are other immigration related problems in your life and you are very much bothered about that, क्योंकि in this country you need to have your immigration status like to the tip, and इसीलिए अगर आपको लगता है कि you need somebody who can help you out with your situation, तो फिर देर मत कीजिए. Always fix an appointment with Shah Peerally. 510-742-5887 है इनका number. You can always check peerallylaw.com, and you know that he has offices in Newark, in San Francisco, and in Washington DC as well. तो फिर yes, US wide कहीं पे भी आप हो या फिर आपके friends हो जिनको लगता है कि they need help in immigration front, you know that you can always fix an appointment with Shah Peerally. Well, वापस आएंगे और आपको फिर से कहना चाहेंगे कि अगर आप यहाँ पे कॉल करना चाहते हैं on रेडियो जिंदगी स्टूडियो, lines are open just for you. 510-770-1550 है हमारा नंबर. Shah, coming back to this, yes, definitely I understand the severity of this situation, and खुदा ना करे कि ऐसा situation किसी के भी लाइफ में आए, but I was just thinking that when something like this happens, then it's definitely, that question of legal immigrant or like legal and illegal comes in mind. So I have a question for you, and that is like, is there a litmus test to understand the legal immigration status, like the legality of somebody staying in US?
Well, there's no litmus test. It just depends on the situation, because if you overstay on your visa, you are kind of illegal. There's no way out of this, unless some other things was filed for you, like a U visa or pending adjustment of status. Otherwise, you are out of status. Now, there's what they call illegal immigration. Those are people who entered at the outset. There are two kinds, right? There are people who enter on a visa and then overstay. And there are people who entered completely without any papers. They just crossed the borders. And that's what we call illegal immigration. We used to call it EWI, entry without inspection. But unfortunately, the problem is that I don't see humans as illegal. Many of those people are struggling. They're trying to get the life for their kids, so they cross the border. But having said that, we also have people who enter on a valid visa and ultimately falls out of status, and they also call illegal. So there is no, now if they file something else that holds them, they are no longer in an illegal status. We call it usually unlawful. Okay, that's a nicer word, unlawful stay. But illegal entry is still illegal entry. And those are the two kinds that we see. So the test is pretty much check if they have anything filed for them or they have some kind of other visa underlying. Otherwise, they are unlawfully present. That's all.
All right, I understand. So yes, I'm just hoping that none of our listeners are, unlawfully present here. अगर कोई भी आप, आप में से कोई भी अगर आप सोच रहे कि you are probably, out of status or you have that fear in mind, please do give a call to Shah Peerally. You know that he is there to help you out to understand the immigration process much better. तो फिर नंबर एक बार फिर से 510-742-5887. You can check peerallylaw.com and yes, you can call us on air. 510-770-1550 है हमारा number. Well, Shah, coming back to the immigration questions, I know that यहाँ पे, especially in Silicon Valley, a lot of people, they come here for, like with H1B या फिर L1, L2, they come here to work. And tell me, like, if somebody wants to change the status or somebody is applying fresh, say for example, L1, okay, I know some companies, they file for L1, and how long does it take from interview to get the visa?
Well, the L1 you have to do, it's a two-part like H1B. First, you have to get the approval of the Department of Homeland Security, which is the USCIS. Then that doesn't take long if you do it under premium. The problem with the L1 is preparation of the case. A good case needs at least 3 weeks to 1 month to prepare.
Okay.
As for the, I'm sorry, I'm having my nose is clogging a little bit, so I apologize for that. So what I'm saying is that it takes around a month minimum to prepare, and then by the time you file it under premium, within 2-3 weeks it will be approved. Then getting the interview at the U.S. Embassy, that all depends on the availability. Right now for India, they are pretty much not available till next year. So unless you're lucky, you won't get an appointment. So bottom line, it's like 1 month plus 1 month plus 2 months plus now 6 months of waiting for the appointment at the U.S. Embassy after you fill the DS-160. So now, if you don't count the time of waiting to the U.S. Embassy, then it's only like 2 months, 2.5 months you can get the case ready.
Wonderful. So yes, मुझे पता है कि काफी सारे हमारे listeners जो है, you have family, you have people who you are trying to get into here, and once they are here, they fall under the US immigration, and there you need help. और अगर यहाँ पे आने के बाद किसी को भी कोई भी immigration related help चाहिए, या फिर you have complex questions, क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो हम बहुत ही simple सवालों के बारे में बातें करते हैं usually, but sometimes your life, that you have more complex situations and you want to get out of it, you want a simpler solution, you know what you have to do. You can always contact Shah Peerally. Number is 510-742-5887. या फिर you can check out peerallylaw.com. Well, I know that we have less time. We have around 7 minutes in hand. And Shah, I really wanted to ask you about those people who are changing their status while they are here. Like, अगर किसी ने L1 से लेके H1B तक उनको change करनी है, because I know that L1 is a restricted visa. It's only for one company. But if they want to change to H1B, is there an option, or should they, contact their employer only?
Good question. The truth is that L1, yes, you're stuck with the company that brought you. But, yeah, there is an option to move to H1B, because as long as you maintain status, you can merge with another status. But the problem, as you know, with H1B, there's a lottery first, and then if you go through, you pass it, you make the selection, then you file the case, then the case, the H1B even approved, kicks in on October 1st. But the answer is yes, you can move from L1 to H1, but you need to maintain the L1 status until the H1 is kicks in on October 1st after approval. So It is possible, but of course H-1B is always a gamble. But you cannot use the L-1 to move to another company. H-1 allows that. You can transfer, but not L-1.
Okay, so both L-1A and L-1B has that restriction that you cannot move your company?
Yes, because L-1 is an intra-transfer of employees. So you have to meet the conditions of, first, if you are an L1A, an executive, or in a managerial role. Number two, you have to meet the requirements that in the past 3 years you have worked for the company for 1 year. And number three, they have to be willing to transfer you from the foreign unit to the U.S. entity. And there's another condition, the two entities have to be related. And that means they have to be an affiliate, a subsidiary, or a branch. And that's a condition that cannot be met if you want to move to another company. Or even if you meet that, you don't have the rule of 1 year in the past 3 years because you're not physically there. So there's no real transfer for L1. You have to go back if this get canceled, or if you can move to another visa like H-1B, F-1, etc., just do it. But no, otherwise you're stuck with it.
तो रेडियो जिंदगी लिसनर्स आपने सुन लिया राइट दैट देयर आर थिंग्स लाइक दैट जो शायद हमको पता है शायद नहीं पता है तो फिर जो नहीं पता है उनके लिए you need to contact a lawyer, an immigration lawyer who is so experienced that he can make those blind alleys lighten up for you. तो yes, इसी के लिए आपको पता है that you can fix an appointment with Shah Peerally 510-742-5887 and you can always check peerallylaw.com. Shah, I know that you are having that allergy and I hope that you get well very, very soon. Please take a lot of water and vitamin C. पर जाने से पहले एक सवाल मैं पूछना तो नहीं चाहती because I know you were in trouble, but यहाँ पे ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो कि trouble में हैं and I really want to understand from you that if they can be helped out. तो abuse के बारे में हम काफी बार बात कर चुके हैं, but फिर भी I wanted to ask this question because I know that after this pandemic the rate of abuse has risen a lot. तो अगर there is somebody who is being abused at home and they are maybe like an H4 person or maybe they do not have their own status, then is there anything that you can do about them or somebody can do about them?
Well, if they don't have any status and they are married, you mean?
Yes, I mean maybe H4, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the problem. The H4, there's no law that really protects them that much. If there are abuses, you can at least get the an H4 special abuse EAD, but it doesn't give you a status. So once you get separated, if the husband or the wife wants to cancel the H4, and plus, there are not many. There's no provision to protect the H4 visa holders. One of the ways people move, they move to a student visa, while in order just to be able to stay here, continue with their children, etc. But unfortunately, there's nothing out there to protect them. And that's one of the reasons we have been fighting. Now we have this petition online on change.org. You just have to type my name and you will get it there. So please sign it and share it with your friends. But now, if you're physically abused, that's a different story. Then we can get a U visa. And if you need help on that, give us a call, 510-742-5887. We'll be glad to help you. I think we don't have time left, right? So only 1 minute?
Yes.
Right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, so since we already have only 1 minute, I just wanted to thank you all for listening. And anything, of course, I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Just to let you know, right now there is this extension of 60 days up to October 23rd, 2022 for people with RFEs, notice of intent to deny, etc. So take advantage of it if you have to. And if you need help again, 510-742-5887. Thank you, Rini. Thank you, listeners. We'll be back same time next week. with a great show. And thank you again, Rini, for those kind words that you were mentioning earlier.
Thank you so much, Shah, and please, get well soon. Sooner enough that next week we can have you in full health. So yes, please take care.
Thank you.
And yes, listeners, so you are listening to Shah Peerally Law Show. You know that Shah Peerally is the founder attorney of Shah Peerally Law Group. Well, इसी तरह से आप हमारे साथ जुड़े रहिए because that अभी तो हम चले जाएंगे, पर रेडियो जिंदगी is gonna bring some amazing show for you day long. Yes, we are 24/7 and you can find us on Alexa and Google Home and कहीं पे भी कभी भी अगर आप सुनना चाहते you can always listen to us. तो सुनते रहिए रेडियो जिंदगी 1550. खुश रहिए, फिट रहिए, घूमते फिरते रहिए और हमेशा खुद से कहते रहिए जिए जा.